that you are. Breathe and you know you're alive. Feel the beat of your heart. Well, life is a crazy way of turning everything upside down. So move with the time that you have. The world will keep spinning round. Don't wait for tomorrow. Live for today. Keep chasing the sunshine and go out and play. Listen, I wanna be there with you no matter where you go. Life is a table for two, and we're starting the show. Well, I'm gonna spread my wings and fly so high up above the clouds. You know that time doesn't wait for your dreams. We're living right here and now. Don't wait for tomorrow. Live for today. Keep chasing.
Welcome. Oh my goodness. It has been a hot minute since I have done a live, and work has just been crazy. Like, this has just been a whirlwind of a couple months. I've done lives for some teams and some other stuff, and you probably saw me on KCC Live last night for Design Team, and then I did Crafty Fun with Friends live stream here this past week, so it's been a weekend of live streams. But so happy that you guys are here. I am so excited to have Anthony Gilbert on our live tonight. Anthony and I have been chatting about this for a little while, and I will let him talk about himself. But Anthony and I were on the design team for Peddler's Den. He's still on the design team. I am not this year. And Peddler's Den is all about scene building. And so to do so, there's certain kind of brushes and tools and technique of stamps. And yeah, he's holding up the card we're going to do tonight. He's going to do the full card. I don't have the full card because I wanted to concentrate on the technique of stuff. So I have been asking him to show us how to use these stipple brushes for a long time. And so we kind of decided we're going to go live and show you guys some different techniques with some different tools. Then I will let Anthony talk about just the scene building process a little bit and the stamps from Peddler's Den, because she's got fantastic stamps. Really liked working with them this past year on scene building stuff. And yeah, I am going to turn the floor over to Mr. Anthony and let him introduce himself. And we'll go from there.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Most of you, if you know me from my stamp line, which was Anthony's Papercraft. Stamp line was active for almost 11 years, and I shut the stamp line down last year in December because I wanted to go back to concentrating on teaching. So, and forgive me, it's my first live. I don't know where to look. If I'm looking over here at my computer, if I'm looking over here at the iPad. So, Shawn, tell me where to look.
It's so hard because, like, I want to look down at you on my screen, which then I know I gotta look at the camera. So we look.
So
yeah,
my camera's up here right now on the top of my screen. So I'm guessing I should look at the camera.
Yeah.
But do I look at you? Do I look at myself? I don't know where. So I'm sorry, I'm all over the place.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
So eventually I'll figure this out. So my thing now is I'm taking techniques that I have learned through crafting for 25 years, classes I've taken, classes I'm teaching. I still am looking at videos and broadening my horizons and taking classes so I can give the information to everybody else. Some things I think I've come up with on my own. Other things I've just seen other people do and been fascinated with it and looking how to do what they're doing with tools that I have in my own arsenal. So I don't have to go out and spend $150 on things that, oh God, she used it, so I have to use it. I have friends that will find something on Pinterest and they go out and buy every single thing that person used
Yeah.
instead of trying to figure out how to do with what they have. And that's why I'm here. You know, little bits of what's the word I'm looking for? Technique, different ways you can use tools you might have to get the same effect or look a little bit different. So one thing I'm going to show you tonight is we're going to do some ink blending with this, and I refer to these as a spoon brush because I don't know what else. They look like a spoon to me, like I'm going to stir my coffee. A Ranger ink blending tool, just a plain old sponge, and these are the sponges that look like a yellow hockey puck, and I just cut them up. And also the big ta-da for tonight is the stipple brush. And I will tell you, there are stipple brushes out there that you can go out and spend $50 on one brush. We're not using a stencil on a wall in your house. So the $2 brush is all you need. Don't go out and spend $50 on a stipple brush because once you start using it, you're going to want a dozen or 2 dozen.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Easy, cheap. I have some that the handles have just dropped off because it's a cheap brush. I don't use the handle. I hold the brush here anyway. So if the handle falls off, no big deal. Take a little glossy accents or some Gorilla Glue, put a dot in there and push the handle back in if you really need the handle. The only other thing I would suggest on the handle, and I just got a couple new brushes today, so I didn't have to clean brushes, is write the color on it. So if it's black versus navy blue, just take a Sharpie or a piece of washi tape or something and write on the brush that it's for black. So you know to put it in black. I have one for black, I have one for brown, and then the other ones, it doesn't matter. Let me grab a piece of scrap paper real quick, because all I do when I'm working is just take the brush and rub off the color and go into another ink pad instead of grabbing, I have all these brushes, but I don't need them all. So that's kind of what we're going to work on today. If I'm going too fast, somebody type slow down. So what I want to show you that Shawn and I have talked about is creating a sky. Because people look at skies and it's like, oh, I can't do that. It's too difficult. 3 colors of blue, a purple, and a black, and that's all you need to make a nighttime sky. And a little number 10 Jelly Roll white pen to make your stars. So I'm going to zoom in with the card close to the camera, the finished card, so you can see where we're going to go. And then I'll show you how I got there. So I'm going to hold this in close so you can see where the moon is and the sky and the gradient colors in the sky. This is what I'm going to show you how to do tonight. And it doesn't have to be a scene stamping. You could do this top to bottom to create a gradient from light to dark. You could go sideways, light to dark. So it's more about the technique of creating the blend than anything else tonight. And we're going to start it with using the stipple brush. I'm going to do 4 skies for you in the time we're together tonight with each kind of brush so you can see the difference. I'm also going to use 2 different kinds of cardstock. Where did I put it? Okay. I've got regular 80-pound plain old white cardstock, and then I have a 100-pound coated cardstock. And so that the difference with coated and glossy, it's the same paper. A coated cardstock can be real shiny, I'm sure most of us think of glossy cardstock. It's got that real bright, it's real shiny. They're both glossy cardstock. One is a matte finish, which is what I'm using today. The other one is a high gloss finish. They work pretty much the same way. Just one thing that I hear a lot is people say, oh, it's just photo paper. It's not. Photo paper has got chemical in it. So your ink is not going to react how you want your ink to work. I know a lot of places put like 4x6 pieces of photo paper on sale in a little box. You're going to waste your money. Unless you're going to print pictures, you don't want photo paper. So does that make sense? Shawn, does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Before we head down to the down table, do you want to tell everybody where they can find you on? I think you have a Facebook, I think for sure.
Okay,
right?
I have Facebook. It's Anthony's Creative Classroom, and also Instagram. I'm working on a new website that's going to have videos and links to different kinds of product that I use, where I am in my travels. In a couple of weeks, I'm teaching a 2-day mini album class at Marco's Paper in Dayton. There are still seats available. You'll find me at some stamping conventions. If you go to Mega Meet in Novi, Mother's Day, you'll find me there. I'll be with Peddler's Den. I'm traveling with Peddler's Den this year versus Marco's Paper. There are behind the scene reasons for that, but
Is there? I can't remember the name of it, so help me out. Peddler's Den has a Facebook page, right? So it's making.
yeah, they have Facebook page. You can find them Peddler's Den and also Making a Scene.
That's what it is. Peddler's Den
And
Making a Scene.
Making is not with it. Making doesn't have the G.
Yep.
It's MACKIN. So I think we're going to get started with some blending.
Yeah.
I'm using Memento ink today. And I always have to remember, I'm going to switch to my down camera. So give me just a second.
I'll switch to down, and then I'll just show everybody what I'm using just so that people can kind of compare here. I am using the dye inks from Tailored Expressions. Anthony and I talked about the different inks prior to, so I'm using my dye inks. He said they are much, for these types of things, they smooth out, they blend nicer. So I have, per Anthony's instruction, I've got a couple blues, a black, a yellow, a pink in here, just to kind of, and a purple. So I'm just going to follow him.
Am I facing the right direction?
Yeah. Yep, that looks great.
Okay. Because I'm backwards to myself. So.
Yep. Nope, that looks perfect.
Okay, so I've got a light blue, a medium blue, a dark blue, a plum, and a black. If you're going to do a nighttime sky, this is about all you need. It works with distress. If that's all you have are distress inks, but I'm not working with those today. Maybe I'll do a couple backgrounds and post them on Facebook with distress ink so you can see the difference. Because I could pull out distress ink, I could pull out VersaFine, I could pull out VersaFine Clair, everything. I typically only do this with dye-based inks though. So I'm going to get started. Let me grab a piece of scrap paper real quick.
And just so everybody knows, I'm following along as the student this evening because I wanted him to teach me as well. So I've pre-stamped and pre-out masked, and I'll let him talk about the stamping and the masking portion just because I did this for the design team. But I'm just following along, and I'm just letting Anthony kind of take over. I've got my brushes already that I've used some and got some new ones out. So I'm just going to follow along and let him take over.
Okay. So I have pre-stamped the mountain and the moon. And I'm going to just do that so I didn't have to take time to, get the stamp in the right position and stuff. I just put the stamp and stamped a bunch of card blanks in my stamp positioner all at one time. So what we want to do so that when we're inking, we don't end up putting blue and black and everything on our moon and our mountains. I created a mask out of some masking paper. So I have a little moon. I stamped on the masking paper, and the mask doesn't have to be dark and vibrant. So, and when you trim your mask, you want to trim just inside the edge. Okay, and then I'm going to put the mask right over the moon. Okay, and I did the same thing for the mountain. And I'm just going to line up the mountain, and I'm going to turn this so that I can see, and I'm going to line this up just inside my image to cover it up, to protect my image. So I'll put another one side by side so you can see with and without the mask. So when you're doing scene building, the other thing the mask does, it puts something behind. So if I was going to stamp a building, a barn, or a house or something in front of this, I would stamp what I want in the front first. So if I was going to put a barn in front of this mountain, I would do this with the barn first, cover over the barn, and then stamp my mountain. And when I take off the mask, the mountain would be behind the house. So we're going to do another video down the road with some actual scene building, but I want to focus on the ink blending technique tonight. And then I'm going to also show you how these 4 different tools work with a stencil. So I'm going to take a brush, and I work light to dark. So I'm going to take my lightest ink and load up the brush. And the other thing you want to do is, if you haven't used your ink pad for a while, test it, see if you need to add some ink to the pad. So what I'm going to do, right now I'm working on regular cardstock, and I'm just going to tap to add my color. Because I want to get a color base down, and my brush is shedding big time tonight. So when you get a new brush, it's going to shed a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to build up some color. It's all about build up, just like we would do with our colored pencils when we're coloring and we want to build up the color. It's the same thing. So you can tap, once you get some ink down, then you can come back and swirl over the top of it. And see how I have these darker blotches? They're going to disappear, so you don't have to worry about that darker blotch. It's not like when you use a finger dauber and you go like this and it's never going to go away. With the brush, it will go away. So see how the color's building up? So do we have any questions or comments?
Yeah, Anthony. So like when I stipple, it's speckly, and smooth it out. Now I have the urge to go down here and hold the bristles stiffer. Is that I should be holding back here, right? And it's gonna
hold
move.
on the white. Hold on
white.
by the white.
Okay.
So once you stipple, then you can come back and swirl. And see how the color's going on the mask? If I didn't put the mask down, all that color, I would have blue mountain tops and a blue moon. And I'm sorry, I have to get a new camera. I see the comment about zooming. I'm as close as I can get right now. I apologize because my camera won't zoom. So now that I'm going to do videos, I will invest in a different camera. So I'm just going to set the blue, light blue, and the brush off to the side. I'm going to grab my medium blue and another brush. And then I'm going to stipple again. And so it doesn't take
the same, right?
Pardon?
Just repeating the same technique again.
Yeah, but you don't have to do as much stippling because you've already got that base color with the light blue.
And am I starting at the bottom or mid goes kind of towards the middle?
Pardon?
Do I stipple my dark towards my mountains or kind of go up a little ways so you get that graduation?
Up a little ways. So you have that little bit of gradient.
Okay.
So I'm going to peel this back for a second so that you can see how pure my mountains are staying. Okay, so we're going to put that back down. Now I've done all I need to do with my medium color. So now I'm going to switch and I'm going to go into the purple before I put the dark blue on top. So I've got the purple and then I have the darker blue. So I've done 2 layers of blue. So you might want to write yourself a note. 2 layers of blue, a little bit of purple, and I'm not going to use a lot, and then the dark blue on top. So I'm just going to, and the purple, I'm just going to stipple. I'm not going to swirl because I just want that little tint in there. So see how there's just this little tint across the middle? And then the dark blue is going to go up here and blend into the purple. And of course, you can leave the purple out. Shawn asked me yesterday when we were chatting about adding the purple. So now I'm going to go into the dark blue. And you don't have to have all these separate brushes for each color. You can use, I would have a separate brush for your dark color, but for the lighter ones, because all I can do is come over here on a piece of scrap paper, tap it off, and swirl before I go into the next color, and I won't transfer the color. But for the darker colors, you definitely want. And right now I'm gonna pounce, get some of that darker blue on there. Then I'm gonna come back and swirl to blend it all in. And I'm gonna pull the dark blue with a light touch all the way down to the mountains.
How do I know when to stipple and start to blend and swirl? Is it just kind of the effect, or just is it more about the layering and then getting that smoothed out once you get the layer?
It's more of a layering. So you want to get some ink down and then come back and just swirl.
Okay.
And it smooths it out. A stipple brush is going to, on regular cardstock, is going to give you a little bit of texture. So you can see on here now I've got 4 colors down. Okay. How's that?
Good.
Let me
So
hold yours up, Shawn, real quick,
Yep.
so they can see the difference together.
And I'm using Nina, I think 80-pound cardstock, Nina Solar White.
Yeah, and I'm using 80-pound, and the brand is called Cougar. And the ladies in the booth always would laugh when I told them the paper brand was Cougar. Okay. So now I'm going to add a little bit of black. And a little black goes a long way. So with the black, I'm going to tap into my pad. I'm going to tap a little bit of it off on my scrap paper and then come back and tap it on. Because I just want to get some darkness around the top. Okay, and when I think I have enough black, then I'm going to come back and I'm going to swirl just to smooth it out.
And now this is interesting because I didn't leave as much sky area, so I feel my layering is a little tighter space than you have. So I'm still doing everything. It just feels tighter.
Yeah. Well, and I did some that are going to go portrait and landscape. So we're working portrait right now. We're going to do a couple landscape also, so you have a wider field to play in.
I saw
Yeah,
somebody
it
comment
does
that
look
they
a
want to
little
get some.
wintry.
Where can they get brushes like these, Anthony? Because I know there was a comment in there that they want to try this.
You can order them from Peddler's Den. And there's a link in the comments already to Peddler's Den website. Not in the comments, in the video description. So you can order these brushes direct from Peddler's Den. And if I continue to use them, we'll figure out a way through my website for you to order them from me down the road. But you might find them at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, but I'm not positive. Before you order a bunch, you might, if you want to try it. So I have not been in either one of those stores since they started taking over things from Joann's.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know what they have in craft supplies. It certainly, if you have a local stamping store in your area, go there first. In Ohio, there are several stores, and I will put some of the Ohio stores in the comments after the video with their information so you can contact those stores if you're in Ohio. Luckily in Ohio, we still have about 15 scrapbooking and stamping stores. They're just nothing in the city. So now I'm going to peel off, and I'm going to do this close to the camera.
Yeah,
I'm going to
Anthony,
peel off my mouth.
as you're peeling, I have a question too, because I know it's probably somebody's
Okay.
going to think of it. If I wanted this to look more like a sunset, would I do like a yellow orangey stuff at the base instead of that light blue, or how would I get my sunset?
Yeah, if you want to do a sunset, you would use like yellows and orange, a little bit of red, and a little bit of pink, or even a hot pink.
With the same concept, 3 different shades.
Same
and then-
concept, light
Okay.
to dark.
Okay.
And then I'm going to peel off my mask for my moon.
So I can peel mine off now.
Yep.
That's our layer. Okay.
Yep. So if you can see this little bit of white along the moon where the mask didn't totally cover, easy fix.
And I think it's
Just-
really important to let people know, like I tried to show it at the beginning, but when you do your mask, you're going to cut on the inside of your design so that what he's just said, you get it nice and tight. You can see I don't have any white space between my color and my mountain. That's because I cut on the inside with my mask.
Yeah. And I cut mine a little bit, went to the outside, so I have that little white spot. Easy fix. Grab a micron pen and
I
just
bought
fill
some
it
of those.
in.
What did I do with mine? I just bought some of those. I bought some because Desiree was doing Zentangle with them, so I went and bought a
See?
couple. I don't know where mine are at.
Now it's gone.
Love it.
So the white spot is gone. I just filled it in with a pen. Okay, do we have any questions so far?
Doesn't look like it. No.
No. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to use a different tool. I'm going to use something different than the stipple brush this time so that we see the difference. Okay.
I think
So
this is
I
the
have the
best
same
one of my
thing.
skylines has turned out.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to be using the same exact colors in the same order.
Okay.
Okay. So, first thing I want to do is put my masks back down.
I didn't prep a mask, so I'm just going to use a card base here and just do the technique.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you see that you have, if you're interested in a stipple brush, that's fabulous because it's something else. If you don't have it in your collection, they're not that expensive to get a couple and try. But if you have other brushes, I'm going to show you how to get the same thing. It's just going to have a different look to it. Okay, so I'm going to start again. This time I'm going to use just a Ranger ink blending tool. Okay. Clean sponge, and I'm going to use the same sponge in every color. I'm not going to worry about, because I'm working light to dark. So I'm not going to worry about contaminating. So we're just going to work with the same thing. And just like before, I'm going to ink this up, tap a little off, because I got fur in my sponge from the stipple brush. I'm going to tap a little bit off, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to tap along on my whole thing. Okay, because I want to get some color. And tapping also, if you're going to do a daytime sky, gives you a look of, let me just lift this up. If I was not going to do a nighttime sky and I was just going to do daytime, by tapping on the coated paper, it looks like I have clouds already. So you don't have to work really hard to get a cloud. So then I'm going to come back and I'm going to swirl my color. And it smooths all of that out. Okay, and the other thing on the regular cardstock, it's going to dry almost instantly. On the coated cardstock, because it's non-porous, it needs to have a minute to dry. And you don't need a heat gun because it dries fast enough. So now I'm going to go into my next color, tap some off while I'm building up my color on my sponge, and then I'm going to come back and tap, and I'm going to work from the top and work down towards my mountains.
Anthony, are you using flat ones or the dome pads?
I'm using the flat ones, but you could do it with either one.
Okay.
I just didn't have any clean domes. Okay, so I've got my color built up, and I have left a little bit of the line of the light blue along the top of the mountains. Now I'm going to swirl this just a little bit. See, it's already kind of dry. And this, see how this is going to give you a different texture than the stipple brush. It's much smoother. And part of that is the cardstock as well. This one is the coated cardstock. This one is the plain, normal, regular cardstock, which is more absorbent to the ink. Okay, so now I'm going to add a little bit of my plum. Tap some of it off and come back and tap a little more. And again, I'm not going to come down as far on my card. And now I'm going to just blend it in. A little bit more blue over here on this side of the moon. I'll blend that in. So I had a white spot left over. And then I'm going to tap a little bit of purple over here to help fill that in. Okay, so there you can see, now you can see a little bit of the third color in there. It's not real evident. You can see it more off camera than you can on. So can you all see the color?
Can you hold the first one up next to it just so we can see each kind of progression here? Okay.
Yeah. So on the coated cardstock, it's not going to be as intense with this tool. It won't be this intense with the stipple brush either. But I will do a little bit with the stipple brush on the coated cardstock on the other end here, just so you can see what those colors look like with a stipple brush. as well. How we doing on time, Shawn?
We are good. I know we were going to try an hour. I know you got other techniques, so we can. Yeah, we got some time.
Okay, so now I'm into the darker blue.
Oh, I did mine already.
And the
So
darker blue, I'm not going to tap off as much because I already have a lot of color built up into my sponge. So in the darker blue, I'm just going to swirl. And it's also bringing out a little bit more of the purple. And I do want to go back and I'm going to add a little bit of purple, more purple into this. So you can always go back to a previous color and add a little bit more. And now the colors are just, because there's such a nice layer on top of the cardstock, the colors are just going to swirl right in now. So I went back to the light blue so I can get a little bit more blue down here along my mask, so I don't have such a white line. Okay, and now I'm going to add a little bit of black. And the black I will tap off.
is there a time that you will grab your stipple brushes versus the pads like this, or like, are you more kind of straight stippler when it comes to doing this stuff?
No, I can add a stipple brush right on top. I'll add some black stippling on top of this card.
I'm gonna do that too.
I'm going to load up my brush by tapping, tap just a little bit off, and I'm going to come back, and you can see how the stippling gives you a nice border. So that's a good question, Shawn, and a good point. You're not stuck to just one tool. So I could let the stippling stay and not blend it and leave it speckly like it is on this card.
See, I like that because I feel like, and I'm just comparing, right? My first true scene, like before I added my stipple black, I like this look better than the smooth look. But now that I stippled the black over it and not blended it, I like it. It just seems softer.
Yes. And the other thing, I'm going to peel this off real quick. You know how we all want to ink the edges of our cards and we get a sponge and we go like this, or we use the ink pad? Stipple brush is perfect for that, to add just texture around your card. And it's also good if you don't want to have a bunch of layers. Say I want to just put this onto a white card base. I've already got a black edge for a border. So here's what it looks like if you just stipple around the edges of your card. And let me do it on the other one that I colored the sky so you can see the difference real quick. And when I'm doing edges, I don't tap off, even with the black. I just go right to my paper. So it gives you a nice border around your card.
This reminds me of like when you're working with distress. It's so important to layer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything is all about color buildup. And that's why when I'm doing skies and stuff, I tend not to grab this kind of brush, because these brushes hold so much color. It's, to me, the comparison is, I'm doing a little bit of work here. This is instant gratification, and sometimes it's too much.
Yep.
But I will do the next one with these brushes so you can see a third tool. Is everybody doing okay?
Yep. You do have a question. So
I'm
Kara's
looking.
asking, could the coated cardstock possibly be the same clay coated paper I saw demoed with stamps many years ago at a stamp convention by chance?
It is the clay is a natural coating, and the way most people make their coated cardstock now, it's more, I, I guess, synthetic. And if Tanya pops on later, she can put it in a comment because she's the cardstock guru because she used to own a printing shop, and Tanya is the owner of Peddler's Den. So if you put questions in here that we can't answer, I'll forward them to Tanya to get you an answer.
Cool.
So, yes, clay cardstock is coated. It's different than the coating that's on our cardstock today. Most paper manufacturers aren't doing clay anymore. So, good question. I can tell you're a crafter from days gone by. Sorry, I didn't mean to insult your age. Okay. Any other questions at the moment? Any
Not
questions
yet.
on what we've done so far?
Yeah, if you have a question, pop it in the chat. I'm kind of helping watch the chat here for Anthony too
Yeah.
as he's teaching. So
And maybe type your questions in all caps so they jump out at us.
all right.
Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing again, but I'm going to use the ink blending brushes. So again, I'm going to put my mask back down. And you can see I'm reusing this mask over and over and over. I did a class where we did masking before Christmas, and I still have those masks in the kit from then. And I had 20 people in that class. So lost my moon mask though. Oh,
And-
it's still on my.
I can never remember the name of this, and Tanya used to get so mad at me because I think I would call it something different every time I would post. I have
The masking
roll-
paper,
Yeah, what's it called again?
eclipse tape.
Thank you. It's where
Think of a solar eclipse.
Is this what you're using?
Yes.
Okay, so we're both using then the Eclipse masking paper. Comes in a nice roll on Peddler's Den. It's very low tack, so it's so easy to work with. It's cheap enough too that once I use it, sometimes I save the mask and put it in with
So
the stamp
here's
set.
the roll, and I've only used like a foot off of this roll.
Yeah, same. Yep.
So it's the best masking paper I've seen anywhere. It puts a post-it note to shame.
Yeah, it does.
So, okay, so back to the same colors again.
I suppose I should wait to see what you do.
So I'm just going to take my brushes like this and load them up. And I am working right now on regular cardstock, so I'm going to tap some of that off and come in and just ink blend. No difference in if you were ink blending with distress ink on a piece of paper or not. So see what happens when I don't tap off and I get the blob. We'll make the blob go away. Okay, so I have enough coverage on here. I just get a little bit more down here on this corner. And if anybody comes up with a way, please email Shawn and I about getting ink out of these brushes. I have soaked them for days and rinsed them underwater, and I can go do it again, and there's still ink in these brushes. And the only other thing you have to remember is to rub away from your mask instead of down into your mask. Okay, see I have blotches on here now? I'm going to press and I'm just going to swirl. And they kind of start to disappear. A little bit of purple. Okay, so there's 3 colors so far. And, I'm pulling my mask up because I was brushing this direction instead of away from it. But I'll just make sure I'm brushing away from it the rest of the time. I'm onto the 4th color, the darker blue, and I'm going to stay more near the top with this one and kind of border around. So see if you go across, because you're building up the ink, it smooths it out. Okay, so now I'm going to change tools for the black. I'm just going to go to the little piece of sponge for the black this time. And the only reason I'm changing to the sponge is because the sponge on here is less dense than the sponge on the brush, than the bristles. And it just gives me a little bit more control. And with the black, I'm going to come up, do the sides and across the top. So there you can see it's taken all of the splotching away.
I'm not going to show mine. I've totally mutilated this one.
Oh, show it up to the camera.
I tried
let
to
me see
do.
it.
I had seen Tanya use a cotton ball once on a sky, and this was where I really goofed up. But you can, without the black, I got the gradient going.
Yeah.
I just didn't have a sponge, so I thought I would try the cotton ball.
Okay, one thing I forgot to tell you on all 3 of these that we've done so far is see how the moon is so white on all of them? See how the moon is just so bright? I want to dull down the moon. So I'm going to take a real light gray, and on all 3 of them, I'm going to use the stipple brush, and I'm just going to tap a little bit of gray over top of the moon to dull that moon down just a little bit. So there's the difference. No gray and a little bit of gray on all the other ones. So that's the sky with 3 different tools so far. And I'm not going to show you with this sponge with all the colors because it'll take me 25 minutes to build up my color on cardstock with a sponge.
In the chat, if you guys could put, if you liked 1, 2, or 3, 1 being with the stipple, 2 the brushes, and then 3, or excuse me, the pads. 3 was with the brushes, in this order.
Yeah.
Just throw up which one you like the best. Personally, I like the stipple brushes on how mine turned out. Like 150 times better.
Yeah. And the stipple brush gives you a whole lot more control because your surface is so open and fluffy. These brushes, the surface is so thick and concentrated.
Yep.
And I use these if I'm doing a whole card background versus just a little strip on the edge. So I want to show you, because of time, I'm using the number 10 Jelly Roll White gel pen, and I want to add some stars. So here's our sample again, and you can see the sky. So all I'm going to do is take my pen and do dots on my sky. When I'm doing like a Christmas card, I'll go like this. To make a bigger star like this. I just make a cross line and then do an X to make this kind of a star. If you want to make this star like a shooting star, just make a little bit of tail, or like a comet in the sky. Just make a dot and then pull like this away from the dot to make like a comet in your sky. And it's the same technique no matter what paper you're using. You know, and it's as much of a sky as you want it to be. Yeah, Claudia, I have not found a good way to get the ink out of the brushes. So,
Anthony, do you want to go over? We have a little bit of time. Do you want to go over the technique we talked about with stencils, just to show the difference?
yeah, I want to do the stencil. Before I move on to that, does anybody have any questions or comments about what we've done so far?
You've got a couple that they haven't used these much. Agree with removing the ink from the spoon brushes.
Yeah, Cordelia, I know you're wishy-washy. But the stipple brushes are really nice. Like I said, Shawn asked me yesterday about color family. If you're working with light colors, like if you're going to work with like a real pale green, a real pale blue, you can stick to using the brushes for light to dark. So again, I'll show you. I'll tap out my brush and then swirl to clean it. I did that with the black one so it would show up better on camera. But my black one, I just, like I said, I write black on it. I didn't do that yet because I just got these brushes today. My black and my dark blue, and like my brown and my dark purple, those I have a specific brush for. Okay, so let me clear the decks here. And we're going to move on to stipple brushes in a stencil. And, oh, and by the way, save your masks. Put them in with your stamps. If, like, this is starting to get really sticky, if I was still going to do more cards, I'd probably give it a quick spray on the back with pixie spray. Or just it's so small, you could even just use a punch and punch out a circle through the paper. So let me grab, I've got a piece of paper and I wrote on it stipple brush, blending brush, a sponge, and a Ranger blending tool. And I've just got one stencil and I'm going to use all 4 tools through the same stencil. And give me 1 second. I just needed to grab a little bit of washi tape to hold my stencil down. For the longest time, I only thought washi tape was good for holding dies down in my Big Shot.
Honestly, that's what I thought when I first started crafting.
That's all I ever used it for. But today I'm going to use it to hold down my stencil. So it just makes it easier to work. Because what I'm going to show you will only take a couple minutes to get through.
I have put in the chat for you guys a link to the Eclipse paper and a link to the brushes on Peddler's Den, too. If you're interested, you can take a look there.
Oh, and just for the heck of it, we're going to move into a red, so it just something other than all these blues and stuff. So I'm going to start with the normal blending brush, pick up my color, then go right to my stencil. I mean, these brushes are definitely instant gratification. Okay. So that's the spoon style brush. I'm going to grab a stipple brush and I'm going to stipple through the stencil over here. And when you're using a stencil, you really want to load up your brush, and you don't need to tap off because you're going to be doing all this tapping through the stencil.
Now, what if they say they don't like the, it's very textured, so do I just keep layering?
Yeah, because you can always go like this with your stencil and look at it, and if you want to put a little bit more, you can. So right now I've done the blending brush that looks like a spoon and a stipple brush. So now I'm going to grab the Ranger blending tool, and it's just going to have a little bit of the blue colors in it too when we go. So this one's going to end up looking a little bit purple when it comes through the stencil. I mean, honestly, the Ranger blending tool and the tool that looks like a spoon, you get color really intensely right away.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and now I'm going to just use a sponge. And a sponge works pretty fast too on a stencil. It's just you have to go to the ink pad more. That's the only thing with the sponge and the stipple brush. Okay, and I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to blend through the middle, and I'm just going to use a blending brush to blend some blue through the middle so you can see the idea of color blending. With a stencil. Claudia, what do you like? What are you saying you like each of? All 4 different tools? Okay. So here is, I don't know how well the camera is picking that up. The stipple brush is the lightest. And then again, this is the blending brush over here. Down here is the sponge. And over here is the Ranger blending tool. Oop, let me get back on camera. Sorry. And then here in the middle is the blue, where I probably should have used a lighter shade of blue because the blue is so intense, so you're not seeing a whole lot of purple in the middle. But I'm going to come up closer to the camera.
And what
Again,
I did is I did the same. as Anthony. I did stippling on this one. I don't have a sponge, so on this one I used the same brush. I swirled this one on, I stippled this one on, Ranger, and a spoon brush. Cool.
So I hope we've shared some ideas and some tips with you all tonight, and that you'll come back and visit us again.
Should we let's go up to face cam and we can say last words?
And if you think of anything, we'll come back and check. We will come back and check the comments and see if there's anything we missed. Oh, I want to go back to my down camera one more second so I can give you a good close-up of that finished card with the scene building. And in a couple weeks from now or next month, we'll do a whole scene building card from start to finish. So I just wanted to concentrate on the sky tonight, but then the rest of this is separate stamps and colored pencil. And we'll get more into this going forward. Shawn and I are both pretty good at the scene building. So when we do it, we can do a video together and maybe each one of us do one separate because we do things a little bit different. We work with different products. Shawn is an awesome watercolor person. I am not. I am not a watercolor person. My problem with watercolors is the color is not intense enough for me. So
I layer a lot. When I watercolor, I layer, I draw, I layer, depending. I mean, I like the soft too, but yeah, I'm the same. You like intense colors. You usually go for like the good amount of color.
yeah, I want bright neon,
Yeah.
intense color.
Yeah.
So
Well, that was it. So we thank you guys so much for hanging with us. Anthony, thank you for just throwing everything on the table literally and giving us some tips and tricks and another tool in our toolbox. And I agree. I think we need to do we're gonna have to do a follow-up on this, and I think and just take the card, keep progressing this.
yep. So I will take the 3 that I started today and finish those cards and post them on Facebook and Instagram. And then Shawn can share them on his Facebook and Instagram as well when they get done.
Yeah, I'll do the same with this one. I got a little grass and stuff to put on the bottom of this, but I'll do the same with this one. I'll finish this one off.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I hope you all enjoyed what we did tonight and look forward to seeing you again sometime soon.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. And
Bye,
until
everyone.
next time, we'll see you then.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.